All right, let's get to the point here. Now, I used to just do plain old websites with, okay, a lot of them had, there's Flash, there's other things like dynamic e-commerce shopping carts, but today that doesn't work anymore. Today people want to see integration, and the web is being taken over by all these social media items, as well as other things which we'll discuss as well, related items. Now the question is, what are all these things? I mean, a lot of us do know what Facebook is, they know what Twitter is, they know what Google Plus is, but they don't really get a good handle on how it works and how it really affects companies. And what I'm going to tell you now is that these things really do play a role in companies, and it's important to get involved now, because just like domain names, you have, if you didn't buy your domain name early, someone else is going to buy your name. So the same thing comes with Facebook, with LinkedIn, with Twitter. These are names that you can buy, they're free. If you don't take them now, somebody else is going to take them. And they're still all in the development stage. And all these things, all these social media items have portals for companies made for corporate entities on websites in order to enhance businesses. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Obviously, there's personal levels of Facebook, which I'm not going to get too much into now, because Facebook is really a social media tool, which means that it helps people connect to each other. It helps people, and there's great, like everything else, there's pros and cons. Okay, the pros obviously is that you can interact with old friends and see what's going on with them, but obviously the disadvantage is that there's a lot of what everyone posts out there is out there. You're going to see it, and there's some stuff that you don't want to see. And there's some stuff that is just people waste time on it, and there's people who have addictions to Facebook. The same thing, Twitter is used. The main purpose of Twitter is for like celebrities and very popular people to have people follow them wherever they go, whatever they do, so their fans can follow them. But like we just said, companies can also utilize that in a very good way. So even though it's used for like paparazzi and all these crazy things, you can utilize these tools also for the good. And I think it's like that with everything else in life, but we're not focusing, we're just focusing on for business strategies here. Okay, so what I want to show you here is Facebook. Facebook has, besides for having a personal account, you can have a business account. Now, I just added all these things on my website within the last few months because I'm offering these services, and I need to offer these services in order to survive in my business today. So, if I'm offering these services, I have to be proficient in them, and I have to add them to my own website and show that I do that. What people want to see when you're looking, I was looking at, for Levy Muller, we were looking at different SEO companies, doing research on them. One of the things I noticed that there's two types of companies. There are companies that are in it and companies that are out of it, right? The companies that they have followers on, they have posts, they have recommendations on LinkedIn. That's a company that's a healthy, dynamic company. The other companies that don't have any of this, they're very, they're under the table. That's not a healthy company. They're showing that they're not up to date with things, and you want to really move ahead with a forward-thinking company. So let's start with Facebook. So and you see a lot of these social media links on a lot of sites now, but the way it works here is on Facebook. You have to, if you're going to have a Facebook page, it's not for everybody. It's for people who already have a Facebook account. They use it here and there, or they use it a lot. But you post updates, you post news on there, and everybody who's a Facebook friend of yours will see that. I would see whatever you post. For example, I just made a post yesterday. Okay, obviously I know this wouldn't bring in tons of people, so I did it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have posted this. But I wrote here, Radio Web, in conjunction with the New York Business Development Network, is organizing a social media presentation for businesses tomorrow. The reason I posted this is somebody goes to my website, they click on Facebook, they see there's activity going on here, there's buzz. People who are in my friends group will see this when I post it to the corporate page. Okay, what I'm trying to get is, people to like these things, people to make their own comments. You can put videos in here. You see, this is very important to get comments in here, because then people see there's buzz. People see there's activity. So if you have somebody in the company who's using Facebook, give him a job of getting the corporate page. I can help set it up. Once you have him maintain it. Just add stupid updates, like anything that's happening in the company, put it on Facebook. People will see it. And if people see it, it builds publicity. And I'll just tell you a quick story with Facebook. When I started this page, this corporate page, my very first post, which is probably all the way down here, whatever, it's too far down. But I mentioned that I'm now doing a lot of social media integration. I put a thing right here on Facebook. Next day, a friend of mine from 9th grade, who happened to have been a Facebook friend of mine that I don't really know or anything, don't have anything to do with, he says, oh, I didn't know you do websites. And then we signed the contract that week. Okay, just because I made a post here on Facebook, on the corporate page. Okay?
How did he find you?
Because when I made a post on my Facebook company page, it puts it on my Facebook profile. He, being a friend of mine, saw that on his Facebook page.
So he has to be spending time though watching.
He just logs in and he sees updates on his friends. So he saw that I was, he saw my update on the thing that I'm now, offering all these social media services. So he saw that, and then he said, oh, I didn't even know you do that. And then we engaged, and then we went to contract that week. Okay, so and again, this is in a nutshell. There's a lot more to talk about here, but that's Facebook, okay? Then we go to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is really the most practical for companies. LinkedIn is like a social media that's made for companies to engage one another. If you're looking for a new job, if you're looking for leads, basically you can post on LinkedIn all about your company, what your services are, what who's all the people in the company. The real thing you want to do with LinkedIn is get everybody in the company to post their details of their what they have going for them. And the more you fill in, the better off of a profile you have. And people will see this. People do look at this, and people when they're like employers are looking for this. Companies who want to see if they should engage in your company will look at your profile page. Okay, and also, like I mentioned before, it's very important to get these in now, because you see how this is LinkedIn/company/Radial Web. Somebody else can take this and then it's gone. You're never going to get it again. You have to get a different name or try. You don't have to pay for it. It's free up to one name. They have this both. All three have. You can get your own name: LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. You can get for your company. If you don't do it now, somebody else is going to do it. Even if you don't plan on engaging your customers through these items, it's worth it to just get it as a placeholder. It's free, and it's really foolish not to do it, because if you're not going to do it, someone else is going to take it. Now. It's very important to have all people in the company, make them fill in a LinkedIn profile, because that will give you a more robust and complete profile. When somebody else looks you up, not only are they looking up your website, a lot of people are looking up your LinkedIn profile. So if you have it very easily accessible to them, you have it a link on your website, and then it has all the company people, and then you see there's a solid portfolio behind the company. And also it's important to get recommendations. You can in LinkedIn ask people to give you recommendations, and people see that. Okay, it's obviously it's stupid because you do it and they do it back to you. It's friends of yours, but the bottom line is when other people see it.
Really get customers.
Yeah, no, yeah, 100%. I'm just saying, even though it's people you know, and it's obviously they're going to write something nice about you. That's what I'm saying. But the bottom line is, people who you don't know will see it, and they'll see that there's a whole large list of recommendations here, and they'll see that you have a healthy portfolio. Okay. So that's again, in a very small nutshell, that's LinkedIn, okay? Then we have Twitter. Twitter, like I said, is really meant for people who are popular people, and people follow them on Twitter. And they make a tweet and people follow that. But Twitter is an excellent tool for companies to post news, okay? You just want to post a 140 character tweet of what's going on in your company. It's, here, social media presentation for businesses tomorrow at our office with MIBDM. Please email us if you plan on attending. Okay? Earn $10 on your next invoice. But just little things that you post every once in a while. And again, the key is to do this at least once a week. Have somebody in the company do it once a week. Just post little updates. And you can also do interesting things like for companies, Twitter is the best way to put small news tidbits out on the website. If you look at, I just did this for a local company, where Twitter also provides feeds, and all of them provide feeds into websites. But what they have is here's a Twitter, it's like a Twitter widget, where in the website itself, it will show the latest news items. And as you update it on Twitter, this will be updated as well. And you can integrate it directly into the website. They have these tools for Facebook, they have these tools for LinkedIn, but Twitter, the most practical area when it comes to businesses, is just to post news. Everything's already there and built in, and people could follow you if you're a big enough company and people want to follow your company. So that's Twitter. Again, in a nutshell. Okay.
Do you mind questions while we do this?
Absolutely. Anybody can ask questions.
Why would I be following a company?
Okay, so for a small company, there's obviously not any need for that. But when you're dealing with larger companies where you have a relationship with that company, you want to see, like, it's like almost you want to follow the news in that company. You have either you're a stockholder or you have an invested interest in that company. So then you'll want to follow them to see what they're doing and how things are going.
Let's bring it down to reality.
So reality for us,
small
there's not much going on in terms of following a company. But what you could do is...
It depends on, I'm sorry to interrupt, it depends on the company.
Yeah.
You have real estate, somebody wants to know whether for investment or their own prime residence, what's going on in the market. Somebody like myself,
right, a real
mortgages,
right.
rates are going up and down, and even if you're not in the parsha of refinancing or buying a house, you want to know about rates. You want to know about these things. Somebody yourself. You do your own. You know yourself how it works.
Right.
If you used to create your own Twitter page, and then people start doing all different kind of banking relationships, tell their friends about it. That is what it's all about. Not necessarily about this guy. People like to be in the know. People like to be in the know. Very important. I'm not trying to take away his podium, but it will work even for small businesses like us. Absolutely.
See, for example, for insurance, as new things develop, as you said last week, you sent out that blast on the Prudential that went out. That went out of long-term care. So I sent that to a bunch of older people that I know that don't have long-term care. So that would be a Twitter thing I would look at.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But what I want to say is also that this is the key. I think this sums up the entire social media presentation for businesses, is that people want to see that your company is not just sitting in dusty and there's dynamic, there's activity going on there, there's buzz going on there. You're moving ahead, okay? And that's what these social media portals are allowing you to do. So they're allowing you to show that you're a dynamic company, you're engaging your customers, and you're forward moving. And that's really what all these things, the bottom line is that's what all these provide to you. So if you're not posting news updates and things about the company, it looks like you're a static company and nothing's going on. Maybe you just maybe you just can't do, they don't have the ability to do that. But people, when they look at you today, they're looking for activity. They're looking for buzz. At least the real, the dynamic people, the people who are really driving businesses today, when they're looking into using companies for them, they're looking to see if they're engaging their customers, if there's activity there. And if a company's not doing that, they're falling behind, because this is one of the ways to stay in touch today. Okay?
If I can comment, if you ever had your picture in the newspaper, and your friends or your clients say, "Hey, that's my guy,"
Right.
This is the same thing. It's like I can show it to a friend 1, 2, 3 and say, "Hey, this is my guy."
Right.
Okay.
They look to you as an advisor. They look to you more than just $5 cheap. I'm going to buy here. It's people look.
So you're
"This
gonna
is
send
my
someone to look
banker.
at my banker."
This is my insurance agent. This is my corp. This is my guy. This is my radio. This is my web guy.
It makes it that much easier to find. You can just put it in
Right,
and pop
right.
up on any
Right.
place.
But
Right.
there's a sense of pride as an individual
It's
also.
absolutely a sense of pride, and then just take a step further. What you're saying, it's much easier to tell somebody, "Oh, this is like you say, my insurance guy, my banking services. Go to him." But instead of selling the guy, and then you feel like, well, you know what? If you're not sure if he's going to come through something, you say, "This is my guy. You did your thing." He can find out the rest of the information right there.
Right. He gets he gets everything.
He needs to know.
The guy posts all his whatever he needs people to find about him. He's open up. He's open. He can show everybody what he's all about. Exactly. That's the word I'm looking
If you're a
for.
small
Transparency.
guy And you don't have somebody to sit there and put in these blurbs every week for you. Then, hey,
Okay. Even if you're a small guy, it still pays. You don't have to do it every week. You want to show some level of activity, because again, people are gonna. When you want to make yourself big, right?
That's right. You're somebody.
Everybody,
Right.
everybody in this room has some kind of a mobile phone or something that they can do it. Before you go to sleep, make yourself a reminder every other week, not even once a week. Make yourself a reminder before you go to sleep, 11 o'clock at night. Just post something every other week.
I have tasks, business tasks. I have business tasks that I make sure once a week I have in my business tasks that I have to do in a to-do list and for work items is to make a post to LinkedIn, to Facebook, and Twitter. It's a chok v'lo yaver. I have to do it, because if I don't do it, if you use these things and they get dusty, it's not worth it. I've done news items up for pages on websites, and I built them a content management system where they can upload their own items. If the last item there is 2009. people are going to see that, and you're shooting yourself in the foot by doing that. So you got to continuously add to it. Okay, let's move on.
The appropriate place to put a sales item or something like that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
right.
For example, not just Twitter. They have. I know that the sushi place here, Muncie, was doing. Sushi a la carte. They have Facebook specials. If you're a fan of their Facebook page, they send out specials to you, like 10% off, this week, and you only get it if you're a Facebook fan. You can do that Twitter also, and it's a way to engage your customers to. And it 100% it works. 100% it works. If they give good things in there.
Sushi roll for $30.
Yeah.
There's stuff in kitchen.
I've done it.
Yeah.
Tons of stuff you can do. Every project you're working on that's public record.
Okay, and again, that's engaging your customers. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is blogs. Okay, a lot of people don't even know what a blog is. Okay, a blog is basically, think of it as, I'm talking for a corporate. I'm not talking about in general. Okay, again, everything here is for business. Okay, if you want me to give a hashkafa share on social media, I can do that also on a different time. But this is all for business. Basically, a blog is for businesses is where you can. It's technically like Twitter, but much more like a real article that people can read and can be interested in. So any company that's doing business in their field, they hopefully are experts in their field, and what they really should be doing is posting updates on industry trends and on what's going on in the field and what's going on. It's more engaging and longer than Twitter. It's like real news items, and like for example, I just started a blog in WordPress. WordPress is the main portal for doing corporate blogs. But basically, I just write here, here, social media website integration. Do you really need it? This obviously is a sum of what we're talking about here in just a few paragraphs. But you can read this all on your own. But but in here you can also like put in all the. There's a search. You can have RSS feeds where people can follow. Again, as small companies, this is not going to be so applicable. You really have to grow this type of thing that people are going to want to follow you, and you have to have real content in here. Every time I put an article in here, which obviously isn't often enough, I have somebody professionally proofread it, so because it's going to be published online and people are reading it if they're looking into my company. So I'm not really making this for the general public to read it, even though it's there and available for them. The real reason I'm doing it is if people look at my website, they see I do blogs and I do post items on a blog. Eventually, one day, maybe it will be a big blog and people will, but that's really not my point. There are big blogs. For example, our video guy, Morty, he has a tech blog that he is one of the authors of. It's a very dynamic tech blog, and a lot of people, he does have like random people on the internet following it because there's good content in there. So.
Tiger Leasing.
What's that?
Go to Tiger Leasing. He has a blog. or Twitter he uses a lot. See how
Now again, I'm not talking about personal blogs and Lashon Hara blogs. No, I'm talking about business here, okay?
So on the left, let's go to his Twitter or something. Up.
This is his blog.
Okay, so let's see. This guy writes.
Okay, this is Blogger. Yeah, okay, so he's writing. Good. This is, the design isn't that hot, but this is very helpful. Not only, another thing I forgot to mention is that blogs are very important for SEO, for search engines, because search engines looking for content, you're constantly posting new content. The search engines are seeing there's new content going up there, and there's continuous keywords showing up there on a regular basis. Search engines dig that,
Let's go to
okay?
previous posts. So he's put in at least a dozen posts just this year. So you're saying on a regular basis,
Right.
you should be.
This is, exactly, if you're doing a blog, this is the healthy way to do it.
And this is unrelated to his business.
Right.
most of that.
Well, it is unrelated, but really it is in effect helping him out in business because it's helping out customers who see him. They see that he's engaged and he's dynamic and he knows what he's talking about.
So do you recommend something like this versus the newsletter that the Saffron sent?
I recommend both, and I'm going to talk about newsletters after this. Okay? It's two.
Does social media except for blogs like LinkedIn and Facebook help SEO in any way?
Well, they're going to be found on SEO because as long as you leave it open to the public, it will be found. The search engines will crawl it. If you have stuff in there that the search engines will want to find, they'll link to that page, and from that page they can get to your site.
Consider the link?
Sure. Any content that's public, that's not blocked by the search engines will index. Again, how far down is index is a different story, but everything will be indexed and found. And at a certain point, the links are valuable. Again, there's a lot of other factors with SEO, which is we can really do that in a whole nother presentation. But so that's blogs. The next thing I want to talk about is mobile websites. Okay, this is totally taking over the internet right now. People don't realize what an impact this is having. I just created my own mobile website only because I'm offering this as a service, and a lot of people are starting to go for it now. What people want to do is when they go to a mobile website, when they go on their phone, they want to type they're usually looking up a phone number. They want basic bottom line facts. They don't need the whole thing that you have in the regular website. They want pretty much a more watered down version. Okay, so if you look at and you know, like you were looking up a phone number, you don't need to see this whole animated thing here. I just want to get the bottom line. So so basically, I have here this is called a mobile simulator right here. You can see how the site loads. Now you can make a script. I just did this for that same client I showed you before, the roofing guy. It's hard to see this. Here, if you look at the site here in this mobile simulator, I wish I didn't type right. Yeah, that's the reason. Okay, you see this? Bottom line, he wants people to find his phone number, his address, and that's it. And then click here to view full site. Okay? This is the same site right here. Okay? Nobody wants to see this on a mobile phone. Okay? This is very straightforward. You have his phone number, you know what you want to find right away, and that's it. And you can click it on a mobile phone. This is a link. You can click it and it dials. Okay? This is obviously a very simple. A site like this is so simple. This takes maybe an hour or two of. This probably took like an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of work to do, and it's so simple to do. And people want it. And there's no reason. Again, you can do a whole fancy mobile site like I did on my own website. The reason I actually made this link here just to show that I have a mobile version of the site. This, when it's smaller, it scales to the. This also works on a tablet. It just scales to the width of the phone or whatever device you're using. Okay, again, very simple, straightforward, and just gives you the basic stuff that you want to find. And this is a link, obviously. It has that funny thing because of Skype, but you know, bottom line, okay, that's what mobile sites are all about. And mobile sites really can be pretty inexpensive if you do it in an inexpensive way, and you just want to show bottom line information on mobile sites. And I really recommend that any real company that should make a mobile version, just because people are expecting more and more expecting to see that today. Okay, and then the other thing I want to talk about is newsletters and the email blasts. Okay, I actually again, I just started engaging my customers using email blasts and newsletters, and I post them on the website. I did that for you too, Levi, yesterday. Basically, it's important. All your customers should be hearing from you every once in a while. Okay, not all your customers are going to be engaging you on Facebook and Twitter. And a lot of them are not going to be doing that, but they have your email. And if they're a customer of yours, make an email list. Okay, on that email list, send out periodical blasts, email blasts to, and I can help you do that as well. Send out periodical email blasts to your customers. They see you and they remember you, because if they forget about you, they're not going to want to do it. So many times I made an email blast in the beginning of the January 2012 version here. Update your copyright to 2012. I'll just make a bigger version of this. Okay, update your copyright to 2012. Okay, don't allow your site to look out of date. It's now 2012, so make sure to contact us about updating your copyright date. Okay, one thing you don't want is potential customers to think you are out of date. Okay, if you see a site that says copyright 2009, that's 3 years old. Okay, you're shooting yourself in the foot again if people are looking into your company. Now, I mentioned that in most cases, updating a copyright is a simple change that takes only 5 minutes or less, and we won't even bill you for this. Okay? I had about 15, 20 people respond to this email. Okay? Of those people who responded, I had about 5 of them who said, let's do some more work together, because I engaged them. Okay? I offered them this for free. This really doesn't take anything. It takes me 5 minutes to do.
You need the authorization to do it.
Exactly. They email me. I'm not going to do it without any. I'm not going to work on. Right. Exactly. I need the authorization. Once they had me do it, I opened up the concept to them that, hey, I'm still around, and they think, hey, let's do some other updates. and I engaged my customers. So it's very important to send email blasts out to your customers. Even other things like, if you have a Jewish clientele, before Pesach, email them, happy, whatever, wish them a good Yontiv or whatever. Our office will be closed, between then and then. It's just a way of engaging them. Again, you can abuse such a thing like this as well. If you send that too many times, or you send things that are not applicable or stupid or solicitations, people are going to sign off your list. But if you send relevant things on a regular basis, it's very helpful to engage your customers, and it's highly recommended.
Speaking of which, is there a way to, basically same way you would in any type of Rolodex, be able to flag the customers? I don't want to send a Freilichen Purim or a Happy Passover to my
Right, so you go, right. Yeah, so here's what you do. I'm actually going to be doing this myself as well. All the systems that there's all this Constant Contact, Vertical Response, MailChimp, iContact, Email Direct. There's so many, and they all have. There's a bottom line that they all have is that you can make multiple lists. You have a master list, Jewish list, non-Jewish list, and you can select to only send out to the Jewish list, if you want to send out like a holiday thing. Now, all these things, you need to use one of these services to do a blast system, because otherwise it's going to go into spam. If you're going to do mass email campaigns through Outlook, very often the server recognizes that and throws it into spam. These systems all work with all the spam filters to ensure that they follow the right policies with unsubscribes and showing the address to ensure that they don't go to spam. Again, sometimes it still does anyways, but then you can contact the company that you're dealing with, and they'll work it out with. They'll help you out with it.
Who do you recommend most out of
it all depends how many you're going to send out and how, there's a lot of factors. But Constant Contact is one of the most popular ones. Vertical Response is also a very good one. Mail. Again, if you'd want to actually do it, I'd see how many, what list you have, how often you're going to do it, and then I can maybe give you a good recommendation based on that. So they're all pretty much, they're all good. Let's put it that way. They're all good. Some are better. Some have better things, strong areas in certain ways. Like if you want to do your own custom design, or if you want to use a template, Constant Contact has very good templates. If you're going to do custom, it's harder to do custom HTML through Constant Contact. There's other factors as well. So that's as far as email blasts are concerned. Again, in a nutshell.
I get an email blast and I want to link in right away to that person's website, but I find you can't do it so easily.
What do you mean?
They're just like one big page. You click on the page, it doesn't go anywhere. It goes to Constant Contact.
Oh, so what they didn't link. That means when they sent the email wasn't sent out, because what they do is, with the way all these email systems work, is they allow you to track how many people click. You can see statistics, and this is another thing I should also mention, is that there are stats on whenever you send an email blast out. There's if you put a link there, you can track how many people click that link, because it links back to Constant Contact, and then Constant Contact redirects it out to to the actual link it's supposed to go to. So they'll know how many times that hit was made, because their server tracks that. So if they didn't link it properly, they left out the HTTP or they left out a slash, the link is not going to work. But they all track, and it's important. If you're sending email blasts out, you want to see how many people opened up the email. You want to see how many people read the email, how many people unsubscribed. Well, you can't see how many people clicked a link from the email, and how many people unsubscribed. This gives you good stats into working with customers in the future. And all these systems are going to provide these statistics for you. Okay, and it's good to look into those things after you send an email out. Okay, so. That's okay. One other thing I don't have much time to talk about now is Google Plus. It's a pretty new system, trying to kind of copy Facebook in a certain way, trying to be a little different. They have a circle of friends. Again, it's still new, and it still hasn't got the same type of traffic as Facebook or the same popularity. But it's obviously they're Google, so they're big, and they're going to try, and they're doing a lot of incentives. Eventually, I'm going to have to add it here as well. In the meantime, I'm holding off until it's, right now I feel it's like trying too hard. To, it's when they become more, accepted and it's around, which it will happen. What?
It's not if,
right.
When.
When that happens, I will add it in and be more engaging in that. But at this point, they're still not Facebook. That's as much as they want to be Facebook, they're still not there yet. And the last thing I'm going to talk about here is web video, which again, this is something that. Everybody has broadband today, and with Fios and high speeds, web video is really everybody. I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people are doing it. Now, YouTube was really the first one to revolutionize this. YouTube really, the fact that they made it so easy to upload any format and make it stream in a format that it goes on all browsers, even mobile devices, and even Macs and iPads and iPhones, is a very novel concept that they did. And obviously they were brought up by Google, and Google has the power behind them to really make sure that it works and it's smooth, and they're paying millions of dollars into development. The big problem with YouTube, the biggest problem with YouTube, is that it's way too open. Okay, that anybody, and most filters will block it unless you open it up, and the comments that sometimes go on these YouTube videos are just crazy. I mean, there's no censorship. You can flag a video as inappropriate. There's so much schmutz on YouTube. So on the one hand, it's such a powerful tool. On the other hand, it's such a detrimental tool. But the thing where you can utilize it in a proper way is they have an embed tool. You take a YouTube video, you upload it, and then you embed it on a website. Okay, and you can do really cool things. And again, I'm going to show you this website because I have a lot of these things on here. This is, people want to, it engages customers and it sees that you're for real. It shows that you're for real when you have video. When you click this, it opens up a little, pop-up window, and then it plays the video that they did a commercial there. People now see that they have a commercial. It's a professional commercial, and people see that they're for real. Okay. And if you have videos, definitely put it on the website. Again, I'm going to hopefully put this on my website just for PR once this is done. But really, web video is I've been doing a lot of it lately, and it's something people it's a really unique way to engage customers, because they could see much more. There's talking, there's interaction. It's much more activity than just a standard website, and you can really do that with a video. And there's so many. Again, I can give a whole speech just on this alone, on web video, and what I think is going to be the future of web video. But again, that's not for now. We don't have the time. And that's really just like as another little thing is you see this thing is called a slider. I mean, you can click on each. This is not. This is. It's sort of the update to what Flash used to be. This is not based on Flash. This is not Flash, but it's the same idea, but it's more interactive. A lot of websites are using this as well. It makes the website more. It gives it more excitement and more life to it, and you can actually click it, view examples, and it's just a lot of people are doing this as well. This is a new. Most of the new websites you'll see, if they do a new website now by a very forward-thinking company, they'll include a slider. It's just another a new thing. It's faster than Flash, and it will work on devices that they block Flash on, like the eyes. Exactly. This works on all the eyes. And that's basically it. I mean, again, I could go on. There's more to talk about. Just the timing is restrictive right now. But if anybody has any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. And we can maybe talk about in the future, the practical aspects of social media, especially when it comes to kids, and from a halachic perspective. And again, I'm talking here strictly business and how you can utilize it. And also we can talk about SEO and search engine optimization. I can do that another time, maybe in the future. But anybody has any questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you.